Hello, everyone. My name's Farida, and I'm one of the people, well, the thousands of people across the country who are newly disabled because of the COVID pandemic. And I just want to talk from a long COVID point of view about why it's so important to come to the rally on the 17th of September for accessible tram stops, organised by the Sydney Road Accessible Tram Stops Campaign, or SATS. So that rally, 1 p.m. on the corner of Sydney Road and Wilson Avenue. All this campaign is basically about is it's calling for accessible tram stops along Sydney Road when the upfield train line is down. Getting long COVID has been really eye-opening about what people with disabilities go through. You know, 1 minute I was a fit, able-bodied person, and I'd never had to really think about disabilities before and what people go through. But now that I have long COVID, it's been really eye-opening. So in general, I avoid catching the tram because there just aren't enough accessible tram stops in Melbourne. This is a problem across Melbourne, not just Sydney Road. An accessible tram stop is basically when the tram stop is elevated so that it's on the same level of the tram, and the tram doesn't have stairs. Before I got long COVID, I didn't even realize accessible tram stops were a thing. It was just something I'd never had to think about before. With long COVID, I get really badly fatigued. So you can imagine if I have to walk up stairs to get onto a tram, it's not good. That can risk knocking me out. And the situation is even worse when the train lines are down. Honestly, when the train lines are down, I'm pretty much trapped in my house. It's impossible to navigate trams and replacement buses with long COVID, I can tell you that. The replacement buses and trams just get sardine packed and you have to queue forever. I'm sure a lot of people across Melbourne have experienced this. So if you can imagine trying to navigate that situation when you can't stand, this is something that needs to be more understood about long COVID is we can't stand up for any length of time. A lot of us have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS. Basically means we get sort of a funny feeling in our body after standing for more than a few minutes sometimes, or even for some people a few seconds. And we just have to sit down. Standing is intolerable. So you can imagine if we can't wrangle the disabled seat on a sardine-packed tram, then we have to stand. I've kind of figured out a weird solution to this problem. I found a pram dumped outside an op shop bin, and as long as the train or the bus isn't absolutely sardine-packed to capacity, I can take my pram on board and I can have a seat. But, this is the thing. I can't do that on the tram, right? Because if the tram has stairs and there isn't an accessible elevated tram stop, I can't lift my pram onto the tram with long COVID because that'll fatigue me. That'll knock me out for the day. So trams, forget it. If you give a damn about this situation, get on down to the Sydney Road Accessible Tram Stops Rally on the 17th of September, 1 p.m. on the corner of Sydney Road and Wilson Avenue.